Chapter 20. Visitor 3, the one repeated skeptically. It took me a few seconds to track. What was the device talking about? Why is saying Axe to Visitor 3? Fortunately, Axe got on more quickly. He began to demorph and return to alien-like form, and as he did, the stock eyes appeared to one began to tremble. But you said Visitor 3, only Visitor 1 is a host body. Great, Visitor 3's been promoted. Yeah, I said the one, but he was Visitor 3 back in the old days, back when we were all friends, comrades in arms. Your solidarity. No, until we were visiting Earth, Visitor the one babbled. She's clearly terrified. Obviously, Visitor 3's reputation not softened over the years. Axe had regained his flying life form, and the various controllers were staring in a mixture of fascination and fear. If I had known the one moment, I would never... Axe waved his hand dismissively. Silence. You are right to remain vigilant. If you had not been vigilant, I would have destroyed you being a careless fool. Now get out of here. Yes, my visitor, yes, she took off. Fast. I feel like sparing her is a slightly out of character for Visitor 3, but at the same time, that is sounds like something he would say for sparing them in general if he was going to. Anyway, which left us staying in the street gaping at the Yerk pool, and a lot of controllers gaping back at us. This isn't good, Margaret said. We're just going to travel very fast if Visitor 3 is here, and someone's going to realize the truth. So what now, Jake wondered. How long does the Elmas want us to leave us here? Until we're convinced he's right, Tobias said. There must be something else we want to see, Cassie said. I glanced at Cassie. She looked puzzled. I guess I expected her to look like, see, I told you so, but she seemed troubled. Like she couldn't make sense of something that was bothering her. When I asked her, she shrugged. Just a feeling. There's something deeper going on, something we don't get. The airport is a busy little place. Controllers coming and going. The host bodies are shoved into cages, drop back out when it's time. There's a steady progression of 6 different piers draining and taking in Yerks. All over it loomed an EGS tower topped by a glass dome. Why put a Yerk pool here? I mean, there's all kinds of open areas. Why didn't remove the buildings that are here? It's not exactly a scenic spot. I wonder what year this is, Marco said. Is this next year? 10 years? 20? Heard a low roar come from the sky. Yerk Bugfire swooped down, taking a turn around the tower and settled near the side of the pool. I don't know why I felt drawn to the Bugfire. Maybe it was some kind of psychic urge. Maybe it was the Elmas making me want to go see what he wanted me to show me. Whatever it is, I found myself walking closer. Hey, Jake said, what are you doing? You guys stay back, I said. It's okay, Margaret said, jerking his thumb at Axe. We're at Visitor 3 here. Excuse me, Visitor 1. Congrats on the promotion, by the way. Axe stood up quickly in front of me, swagging and acting the role of the big and great and terrible visitor. As we drew closer to the pool, there was a crowd of controllers, humans, heartbreaker attacks, and a few other things I'd never seen. They parted quickly. No one wanted to accidentally annoy Visitor 1 in any way. We swaggered up the Bugfire like the bosses of all the world, and suddenly the door opened. I stopped, and he stopped as well. The others cried behind us. My skin was tingling, the hair on it was like I was standing on end. I knew something was about to happen, something awesome and terrible. And then they stepped out. A human and Andalite. I knew the Andalite because we'd met before. I felt the dark dread emanating from him. Visitor 3, the real one. Seeing Axe alongside Visitor 3, the crowd of controllers immediately knew the difference. Visitor 3 had an Andalite body, but there's no mistaking for anything other than a creature of pure evil. Well, well, Visitor 3 said the person with him. Right on schedule, just as you said. I stared at the woman. She was a pretty young woman, maybe 20, 22 years old. She had blonde hair, cut short. She wore no makeup, and her clothes were plain. I stopped breathing. My heart stopped beating. I tried to swallow, but I couldn't. Hello, Rachel, the woman said to me. Hello, Rachel, I replied. So, yeah. Future her. Incidentally, she said she's maybe 20, 22. We know she's a teenager now, I think. I'd say 13, maybe 14, so this could be like a decade later. Not that it matters much, I suppose. After 21, it was me as I would be in the future. I knew you were coming, future Rachel said. After all, I was you. Once I stood right where you are now and looked just like you do now, saw myself as I am today. She sighed calm, but her eyes flickered to Axe and back to me. Visitor shook his head in amusement. If only I'd known from the start you were humans. For so long I believed you were Andalites until at last we caught you. I felt strangely calm considering what was happening. I was face-to-face with Visitor 3 was now Visitor 1, face-to-face with my own future. Of course, you're a controller, I said to the older me. Of course, she said. She smiled, a cruel smile not at all like me. We won. You let us on a nice chase, but in the end we won. This planet is Yerk territory, and the human race achieved its destiny as hosts for the Yerk race. If you know so much, how do you know we come to be here in the future? Marco asked. An Elmas brought you here, Visitor, he said. In your own time, you face a choice. The Elmas had brought you 6 humans, you 5 humans, 1 Andalite, to show you a future, to show you the future, and soon you'll return to your own time. What choice do we make? I asked. Neil or Rachel smiled a cruel smile. The right one, obviously. Everything worked out perfectly. Yeah, Jake's smiling. Maybe not. He brought us here to make a choice, so what if we go back to our time and decide to accept his offer? Then Rachel won't be around to be turned into a controller. She'll be the rest of us on whatever planet he takes us to. I watched closely in reaction from my older self. Nothing, not even a flicker, but there was something. She was hiding something. You know what we decided, but still, here you are. So you're here to change what I decided, except... No, then that might change all of this. Or else, you're here because your being here is what caused me to decide whatever I decided. Confusing, isn't it? Sneered Visitor 3. I don't know how the elements keep it all straight. I'm glad they point that out, that's funny. Let's leave, Cassie said suddenly. I don't like this place, I don't like these two creatures. But Cassie, I'm your best friend, my older self said mockingly. No, you're not. Maybe Rachel's still alive in there somewhere, but you are as a yerk. She started to turn away, but she tripped and fell against me. Suddenly the older Rachel was there. She grabbed me and held my arm steady so I didn't fall. But that must like she was lunging. His tail whipped forward in the blink of an eye. His quivering blade was pressing against the older Rachel's throat. Her eyes went wide with fear. She shot a glance at Visitor 3 and my amazement seemed frozen, confused. His main eyes narrowed. He looked from Axe, the older Rachel, to me, and suddenly I knew. This wasn't in the script, was it? This wasn't supposed to happen. Something changed. It's Axe, isn't it? You said 6 humans before, that's what you thought you'd find. That's what Rachel told you would happen, but the future's changed. Something is different. He glared at me, and now he dropped the pretense of politeness. Do you know what I finally did when I caught you in your little band of Animorphs? Do you know what I did? I gave each of you to a trusted lieutenant once you belonged to us. Once you were mine. I killed your bird friend there and we roasted his body. He leaned in closer. He was tough and stringy, but once we add that sauce you humans have, barbecue I believe it's called, then your friend Tobias was delicious. You had a leg as I remember. You ate it and laughed. I wanted to morph right then. I really become a grizzly and tear him into a few new holes. There are hundreds of controllers and while I was morphing I'd be vulnerable. Axe still his tail would press against the older Rachel's throat. He can't hurt us, Axe said. He can't do a thing. If he does, it would change history. He doesn't know how that would work out. Good point, Axe, Jake said. We met his gaze. He had dangerous, angry look in his eyes. He can't hurt us, but the reverse, well... Excellent point, I agreed. I focused on a grizzly bear. So, Visitor 3, you killed my friend Tobias and roasted him over a fire. I began to change and so was Jake. I have 100 heartbeats I can call, Visitor 3 said. So call them, Margaret said. Maybe one will get careless with Drake and maybe kill us. How do you think that'll change the past? Hard to tell, isn't it? Claws sprout my fingers, coarse bound furs cover my body. I can feel a surge of power getting more bear than human. Visitor, the old Rachel said tersely. What do we do? We, he said. We do nothing. I retreat. He was backing away, but I wasn't going to let him go. I had him. After all the pain he caused, I had him. After all the damage he'd done, he was powerless. I didn't even wait till my last fight human features submerged. I was bear enough and I charged. Bears are large and a bit clumsy, but they can be very fast. Now, you filth, let's see who eats who. I barreled toward him and he turned to run, but he turned too late. I hit him. 800 pounds of fast-moving bear hit Visitor in the flank and brought him down hard. I drew back one huge claw and swung with all my might. And my hand hit the trunk of a tree. My very human hand. Ow! I was human again. I was in the woods behind Cassie's barn. Bears all there as well. Tobias once again a hawk perched in a branch overhead. No, I'm sick of this, I yelled. I slammed the tree in sheer frustration. I'm sick of this. I had him. Cassie came over and put her arm on my shoulders. It doesn't matter. That's a visitor for you. It doesn't exist yet. I'm so sick of this, I said suddenly a little more softly. Well, what's the point? What's the point of anything? We know the future now. We know what happens when we decide to stay and fight. I felt lost. The last ounce of energy has just seeped from me. It was too much. Too many things to deal with. And what was the point? What did it even matter what I did? I flopped down on the grass in the pine needle cover right around, rested my head in my hands. I was done. Done trying to make sense of a world where I'd be jerked back and forth like a puppet. The six was just lay there on the floor of pine needles for a while, staring, thinking, letting it sink in. It was over. The war was done. We'd all lost. It could all still be an element's trick, Axe said half-heartedly. No, you know it's not a trick, at least not the way you mean. If he wanted to force you something, he had more than enough power. We need to think this through, Jake said wearily. I shrugged. You think it through. I'm tired of thinking. I was just about to vote when Elma tried us off for a little show and tell. I was going to be good old Rachel and vote no. I was going to be tough one more time, but I'm changing my mind. I'm not going to end up as a controller. That's not going to happen. Not to me. It means I'm running away? Too bad. I changed my vote. You know what? In that moment of surrender, I felt good. I wish I could say I didn't, but I felt a wave of relief wash over me. No more hard decisions. No more danger. No more having to be brave. That makes it Cassie, Rachel, and me in favor, Marco said, 3-2 unless Axe is voting. I vote Prince Jake, Axe said. Maybe, Tobias began. Maybe if some of the human race survives on their planet, maybe it'd be like when we brought the wolves back to the national forest. I mean, maybe someday we return and take the Earth back. Are you changing your vote, Tobias? Jake asked him. Jake, you know I never run from a fight. We all sat there staring at nothing. We were gonna do it. We were gonna band a fight. We all knew it. Jake kind of said, Elmas is up here? We decided. The answer is yes. The Elmas thought we teleport immediately once we decide. I expect my next breath to be drawn on some distant planet, but nothing happened. Nothing at all. Chapter 22. I can't tell you a weirdo was going to school the next day, sitting in class trying to pay attention to my teacher, Miss Palmola, talked about what led to the Second World War. Maybe if the United States was ready to fight earlier, she said. The war had been decided earlier and fewer people would have died. But our country wanted peace. I kept looking and wondering, was that your skeleton across that desk? What was the point of going to school? What was the point of anything? I'd seen the future. I knew how it turned out. The human race was done for. Finished. That's where our long history led, to a yerk pool. Because we are so devoted to peace, we may actually have made the war worse, Miss Palmola droned on. We'll never know for sure, of course. You can't really second-guess history. Unless you're an Elmas, I thought. If you're an Elmas, you can look ahead and see it all. Why not? It was Cassie's voice. She glanced over across the room at her. She had the same confusion I'd seen the day before. That frustrated look had sensed something she couldn't grasp. Why can't you second-guess history? I mean, if you could go back and change it so the U.S. was ready to fight earlier. Miss Palmola sat on the edge of a desk. Because events are entwined in ways we cannot see, Cassie. Sometimes small things can make huge differences. You know, they say that a single butterfly being swings in China might might affect the way the wind blows here in our country. A single butterfly being its wings may make a tiny change becomes a bigger change, it becomes a tornado. The world isn't like math. It isn't 1 + 1 = 2. It's more complicated than that. Then the oddest thing happened. She looked right at me, right in my eyes. Much more complicated than that, she said. A single butterfly. A single butterfly. A single butterfly. A single butterfly. The hair in the back of my neck was tingling. Earl was looking at her like she was crazy. Suddenly, Miss Palmola shook her head like she was popping out of a trance. She smiled in a confused way. Okay, well, anyway, you all have your reading assignments. I think she had a stroke or something. The bell rang and I practically jerked out of my seat. Cassie treaded away from her kids that were rushing out of the room. Okay, tell me that wasn't weird, Cassie whispered. I thought I was imagining it for a moment. Besides, who knows what's weird anymore? I'm sitting there waiting for the... You know who to zap us out of here. Cassie nodded, so why hasn't he? Out of the fast-moving rush of bodies in the hall, we made our way to our lockers. I don't know, I said, a spun accommodation lock. We decided to say yes, or give him what he wants. I popped my locker open. Unless maybe that wasn't the answer he wanted, I finished our thought. But it's nuts. Everything he did made it look like he wanted to say yes. He appears the first time Ryan's about to be swallowed by a... Sure, I'm known to make sure no one here. Just about to be swallowed. I mean, come on. Obviously, must have figured we wanted to bail. We might have, except we saw it drop shaft, so we thought we could escape. Otherwise... I stopped talking. I stared at Cassie and she stared back. He showed us the drop shaft, Cassie said. Why? I wondered aloud. Why? Why is he doing it for us? He appears when we're desperate. He says he doesn't interfere and he gives us a choice. Then he lets us see a way out. What's that about? Then he gives us another chance. He shows us the future. He shows us you, basically. So we know for sure he must have decided to stay and fight and we know we lost. And all that means we have to say yes and let him take us away. So why do I feel like I'm missing something? The warning bell for our next period rang. This is insane, as Marco would say, Cassie laughed. I mean, I have a gym next period. Any moment I might be swooped away into her plane, but in the meantime, I have to go play volleyball. I watched her walk away and hurried to my next class. A single butterfly, I thought, but how's a butterfly supposed to know when to beat her wings? Chapter 23. I was back in an underground yerk pool, trapped, stuck to a taxon's tongue, but not as a cockroach. I was myself in a human body, only tiny, stuck about to die. Ash was talking. Yerk pool, center of their lives, almost a religion. I swarmed trying to get away. As I tried to change something else, the bear. I wanted to be the bear, but I was stuck. All I could do is beat my helpless wings. He showed us the drop shaft, Cassie's voice murmured in the back of my head. I soared down the dark corridors and flew wildly on butterfly wings, chasing a light that never drew closer. Decadrona, thought my dream. The light is Decadrona. The center of their lives. Almost a religion. No, not the yerk pool, really. Decadrona. That's the center for them. That's their light. He showed us the drop shaft, Cassie again, only now she was Miss Palmola. My eyes snapped open and I sat up in bed. I was awake as I'd ever been. I was feeling electric. Yes, I yelled out in my room. Yes. I hesitated. Was I nuts? Was I desperate? I ran through it all again. Got him, I whispered. Oh, we got him. Got the disgusting worms. I shouted out as he sure wore a bed and quickly slipped in my morphing outfit. I threw open a window and I paused. It'd be Saturday morning in a few hours. No school, but my family might worry. I quickly scribbled a note saying I was gone for an early morning run that I might go over to Cassie's afterward. Then I glanced at the picture of my desk. The one of 3-year-old me and the balance being held up by a proud father. I could not tell the others. We'd already decided we were going to say yes to the illness. When we were taking them, take us to a place where there'd be no battles and I needed to decide. I told my friends I expected, I felt the weight come down on me again. The weight of uncertainty and guilt and fear. I looked at the picture of my dad and smiled. What would you think of me, Dad, if I walked away and still had a chance to win? And then I morphed. My arms shrank, my skin flowed into patterns of soft feathers that would rise silently in night breeze. In a few more minutes I was ready. The moon was bright in the sky, dawn was hours away, perfect night for an owl, but I paid no attention to juicy praise that flew at top speed through the woods. Okay, I also just realized the bit with her mom, that's because I presume they did have a talk and she realized, oh, I better let her know where I'm going because she'll worry. So yeah, that must have been what they talked about. Anyway. Tobias is me, don't panic, we'll wake up. What the? Didn't I tell you not to go? I'm talking about zooming in on. Come on, I yelled. Come on, where? Don't worry, just come on. I know you don't like to fly now, but come on anyway. Rachel, if you lost your mind, where are we going? We're going to be butterflies, Tobias. We're going to Cassie's barn. We're going to change history. He opened his wings and flew alongside me just a few feet away. Whatever you say, Rachel. Well, it makes you think, I know where it is, Tobias. Where what is? I know the location of the Kandrona. Chapter 24. Okay, it's 3:47 in the morning, Marco said, and I'm here thanks to my dad's a sound sleeper. Doesn't notice when I wake up screaming because an owl and a hawk have flown over my window. So maybe now you can tell us why we're here. Everyone was in Cassie's barn. Jake looked sleepy and interested. Cassie's using the time to check on some sick animals. Ash just stood to one side, waiting to see what Jake told him to do. Tobias perched on an overhead beam, tired of having flown too much. We were lit by a single small bulb and never even touched the shadows in the corner of the barn. We had known not to take a chance Cassie's parents might notice a light and come investigate. Yes, I answered Marco. I'll tell you why you're here. I know where the Kandrona is. I know where it is. I got his attention, but he's still skeptical. What makes you think you know where it is? The Elmis. He showed us. He thought it was unfair he appeared in the Europol and asked us to decide when you all would be eaten, right? I told you, Elmis cared nothing about fairness, Axe said. No, you're wrong, Axe. At least this time. He appeared when we were about to be swallowed, but then he showed us that drop shaft. We saw the drop shaft was there. It wasn't about him showing it to us. Are you sure? He waited for us to walk out of the lyric lunchroom to appear. He waited till we were staying where we could notice it. I saw him raise an eyebrow. He and Margaret exchanged a look. What if we're wrong about him being unfair? What if Cassie's instinct is right, that he's telling the truth, that he's trying to do what's right? He's telling us in the future we lose, that the human race is enslaved, and has a way to save a small number of us, and it's all true. But if he's telling the truth and we all lose in the future, what's this about? We've seen that future, and nothing would do will matter. I shook my head. No, it will matter. If it didn't matter how we decided, why even bother asking what we wanted to do? See, it does matter what we do. Yeah, but the answer is obvious when we change the future by agreeing to him. That's one way. He offered that when he accepted, he didn't act. He didn't take us instantly. Why we agreed that he'd leave us here? Because he wanted a different answer, Cass said, nodding and giving me a wink. That's what's been eating at me. What different answer? He's in a trap, I said. The Elmis is trapped. He wants to save Earth, but he can't interfere. Supposedly all he's allowed to do is offer to save a small number of us. But he knows that won't save the Earth. It will save a few humans when he shows visions of Earth. He wants to tell my humans. He said the Earth was a work of art. He wants to find a way to save it. Without interfering directly, I agree, but what if we just happen to see another way? What if he shows the future trying to convince us to take us away and we just happen to see a way out? What way out, Jake demanded. The Kandrona. He let us see where it is. The Europol downtown, that's the key. Why build a Europol downtown? Why level so many buildings to make room for it? Why leave that tower still standing? Why is there a glass door on the top floors? Axe is the one who said the Europol is the center of our lives. The Europol, I think it's a shrine, like a holy place. This is where I located the first Kandrona place on the land of Earth. Jake snapped his fingers. The EGS tower. That's what's under the dome on the top floor is the Kandrona. That's what I almost wanted to see, just the way he let us see the drop shaft we used to escape. He wasn't interfering. Technically, the choice is still ours. Marco laughed out loud. You mean maybe he's bending his own rules so he can say, hey, I didn't interfere, at the same time he's putting us where we can figure it out? I can't believe it. He's a weasel. He found a loophole. I think I might like the guy. But even here right by the Kandrona, Rachel, Jake argued. What does it prove? We destroyed it. Are we really sure it'll change the future? Cass looked at me and smiled. Maybe yes, maybe no, but things are connected in a million ways. They say a butterfly being swings in China can start a tornado in America. Yeah, Tobias said, but how does a butterfly know when to beat its wings? It doesn't, I said. I guess it beats swings the best hand, hopes it all works out. If it's a butterfly, it just does what they do. And what do we do, Xena warrior princess? Marco said mockingly. Know what the answer I give? We kick your butt, I said, with a grin. So now they have a plan. Chapter 25. At 5:10 in the morning, the EGS tower's windows are almost all dark. From a deeply shadowed plaza in front of the building, we see a sleepy, uniformed guard inside the lobby. There are dozens of businesses and law firms and stuff in the building, Jake warned. Most of them probably just normal people. Fortunately, there's almost no one here at this time of day, but the guard's probably just a normal guy. How do we deal with him not hurting him, Cassie asked. Suddenly Tobias stood down in the dark sky. I can't see anything useful through the windows up there. Too bad the glass dome's still in the future, but I can tell you one thing. Something up there is giving off some heat. I'm getting a beautiful updraft. Let's do this already, grumbled. Let's start morphing the bear. Okay, but take it easy on bystanders, Jake said. Tobias and I are working out, but stay up and keep an eye while we morph. No problem, Jake. The doors will be locked, Cassie pointed out. Not for long, I said. I saw demorphing coming out of his human body, resuming his normal shape. Jake's eyes are glittering, his body lengthening, his striped orange and black fur spraying like a wave over his skin. Cassie's on all fours, rough gray fur grew thickly over her shoulders. Her mouth bulged out further and further from a wolf's muzzle. Hey, guy's coming up behind you, Tobias called out. I think he's drunk. He's carrying a bottle. If I were daytime, I could read the label. He's definitely staggering. Keep morphing, Jake said. Cassie, see if you can get rid of him. Cassie tried off already fully morphed. A second later, heard rah, 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 followed by no, whoa, no way, and a sound of a crashing ball and running feet. Cassie turned just as we were finishing our morphs. He decided to go in a different direction, Cassie reported. Probably not the best growl I could have given. Maybe that's a little better? I'm not sure. I'll try some other time, but anyway. Okay, so let's go in. I said I was fully a grizzly now and feeling invulnerable. Actually, how about if Marco tries it first, Jake suggested. While the rest was lurking the shadows, Marco, now a very large gorilla, knuckle walked to the glass door. He stood up on his hind legs and tapped one massive finger on the glass. The guard jerked on his feet. He stood up and moved cautiously closer and he drew a gun. Hey, get out of here, the guard said. Hi, Marco said Thoughtspeak. I just came from a masquerade party and looking for Visitor 3. His eyes went wide. Andalite, he hissed. Oh, so you are a controller. Good, that makes this a lot simpler. With that, he punched straight through the thick glass to the door. Crash. His fist kind of swung to the guard's chin and he crumbled, still holding the gun. Move, 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 Jake yelled. I barreled the rest of the glass door. I was careful, but not too careful. I wasn't very worried about getting hurt. Shattered glass flew everywhere. Cassie, Axe, and Jake leaped over the glass shards. Jake raced to the elevator. There may be an alarm. We have to move fast. We'll never fit in one elevator, Marco said. Head for the freighter elevator. That'll hold us, Jake said. Go for the top floor. Cassie and Axe kept an eye on all activity on the ground floor while they wait for the elevator to come back down. Jake, Marco, and I had the most firepower, so went first. We squeezed our combined bulk into one freight elevator car. Not an easy thing to do, but we managed it. Can you press the button? I sure can't, Jake said. He held on his huge paws to show me. It wasn't easy. Bear paws aren't exactly subtle, but in the careful lining up, I hit the top button. The door was closed and rose swiftly upward. There was a safety inspection certificate mounted on the wall. I leaned very close to make out letters and read aloud. Says here the maximum load is 20 people. How many bears, tigers, and gorillas? The ride seemed to take forever. I watched the counter tick down. 21, 22, 23... So, seen any good movies lately, Jake asked. I wanted to see that new Keanu Reeves movie, I said. He's supposed to be cute, right? Duh, I said. Wonder if you ever go out with a girl like me. You know, a lot of guys wouldn't want to date a grizzly bear. Suddenly, Rosa has music playing in the elevator. Stupid elevator music. Get ready, Jake said. Been ready. Top floor, ladies' shoes, children apparel, everyone out, Marco announced his best elevator operator voice. The elevator stopped and the door opened. Just 3 humans and 2 Harbinger racing toward the elevator. Just as 3 humans and Harbinger racing toward the elevator. Jake roared in a voice that cracked concrete. I echoed my own muddier bear voice. I charged like an enraged bull. I went straight for the nearest Harbinger. That meant running through the closest humans. I felt a slight clump as his body was knocked aside. I slammed the Harbinger and the force of my charges picked him up and carried him along, so I hammered into a far wall. It didn't kill him, but he wasn't going anywhere. Jake took down the Harbinger, a lightning strike of his claws, and the remaining humans bolted. I'm cut, Jake said. Is it bad? It isn't good, but I'll be okay for a bit. Then the elevator door opened and Axe and Cassie piled out. About time, so we'd taken care of the welcome committee. Sorry, Axe pushed the wrong button for the wrong floor. She glanced at on to Harbinger. You know they have more than 2 up here guarding the control unit. Jake, you're bleeding, Cassie cried. I'm fine, the controllers ran that way. Let's go, we haven't won yet. I took off on a loping run, Nero's right behind me. My claws gouged the carpet floor at every step. I couldn't see, but I could smell the adrenaline of the frightened humans. I knew where they'd gone. I could smell them. I could sense them. They challenged me and I was going to show them who was boss. Watch out, Rachel, Cassie called. There's a door straight ahead of you. Nah, there's no door, I said, and plowed out 800 pounds into a steel door that popped open like a lid of a jack-in-a-box. Inside, 8 Harbinger warriors stood ready, 8 walking razor blades. 8 of them, 5 of us, and there was no way we could win. A sensible person was seeing the odds and run, but I charged straight at them. Later on thought I was being brave, but you know what the truth was? My weak bare eyes, all I could see was a blur. I thought they were humans. I wasn't brave. I was just blind. Chapter 26. Rachel and Cassie all morning. Too late to retreat, Jake said. Go. I figured out the 8 blurs of Harbinger about 3 feet away from slamming the first one, but then it's too late to stop. Kill the Grafnir Andalite, said Harbinger crying a weird mix of languages. Kill Fragment Andalite. Left, kill all. Suddenly I realized I was cut. A searing pain raved from my shoulder. I saw my paw hit the Harbinger in the head. He fell and fell. He slashed his Tyrannosaurus feet and ripped a second cut in me. From that point on, it was a nightmare of terrible energy seemed to float in now my hazy vision. I saw Cassie, her bone-bringing jaws at the throat of a Harbinger. I saw Axe with his tail like a deadly bullwhip, lashing, cutting, and lashing again until one of the Harbingers stood screaming, holding his own severed arm. I saw Jake and Harbinger locked in a deadly embrace. They rolled and slashed with superhuman speed. I saw Marco find one arm as he held his sliced open stomach together with the other hand. Jeez! And everywhere snarling, growling, raging noise. Look out, Rachel, behind you! Die, Garfish, die! I roared. Help, he's on me! Ah! I couldn't tell it was winning, couldn't tell it was hurt. It all became one long cry, one long scream of rage. Harbinger and Animorph, alien animal. We were flesh and blood creatures thrown a meat grinder. 13 deadly animals locked in combat to the death. I felt the bear weaken as he was cut again and again. I was losing blood. The human part of me knew that, and I could feel his strength ebbing. I charged again and hit Harbinger in the stomach. I carried him along my momentum and he slashed wildly. I hit something, glass. It shattered. A window. I'd shoved him through the window. I heard him cry, dying away as I fell. A sudden flash of moonlight, so the sun came zooming through a shattered window. Tobias screamed, he spread his talons forward, tried to close his Harbinger, raking his eyes. The battle turned, and the Harbinger had enough. Maybe he's hearing one of their fellows fall 60 stories. Maybe it was starting Tobias' arrival strengthening her side, but whatever it was, the remaining ones ran. The three of them ran, the rest would not be running anywhere. Marco grabbed a crumpled door and slammed it into place. Then with that much in last strength, he moved and shoved a desk in place to block it. I'm hurt bad, Marco said. I gotta morph out. Do it, Jake said. Everyone demorph. I'm okay, I said weakly. Rachel, Tobias said. Your left arm. I stared blankly at my left paw. It wasn't there. It was a stump. Demorphing, I said. I focused on my human body, my weak but healthy human body. Morphing is done from DNA, thankfully. It doesn't affect by injury, so injury does not follow you. Exhaustion does. As my human body emerged, I was so weird as to I might faint. Through human eyes, I saw a scene of carnage. Harbinger lay sprawled around the room, most seemed to be breathing, but none were conscious. While all were bleeding from teeth and claw wounds. Unfortunately for them, they could not simply morph out of their injured bodies. Everyone okay, Jake asked, sounded as weird as I felt. Yeah, but that was way too close, Cassie said. We were in a large office. I could see now in my human eyes, deathly splintered. The carpet was ripped into ribbons. The walls were gouged. Floor-to-ceiling windows formed one wall. They were shattered, and I remember the Harbinger falling and shuddered. There was a door in one wall. Through there, Marco, I guess? Let's try, I said. I staggered a door and it was not locked. A bare room, tile floor. Any maybe you can walk away from is a good one. Fair enough. A bare room, tile floor, white painted walls. The wall of windows blocked by heavy curtains. The room was empty but for a large, massively built platform that was still in the very center. A steel pedestal maybe 3 feet high and 8 feet long, and atop the pedestal was a machine the size of a small car. It was shaped like a cylinder, tapered with dull points on both ends. It gleamed bright like new chrome as if it had just been polished, and it made a slight humming noise as I pressured my hand stand in from the static electricity. It was warm, very warm, and smelled like lightning. The Cadronak said. The Cadron, I echoed. For a full minute, just stood there gaping. Rachel, Jake said last, we need you to morph again. Can you do it? I nodded silly. Elephant? Elephant. I don't know how else we're gonna do it. We don't have any tools or anything. I morphed the elephant. Tobias went outside to make sure no pedestrians. It took away my last ounce of power the elephant had, but the Cadrona did move. It moved slowly in jerks and starts sliding across the floor, but when I finally shut for the windows, it fell 60 stories to smash into concrete below. We did, I whispered as I turned to my normal body. We destroyed the Cadrona. We had to get out of here, Jake said. The Earths will know. They'll be all over the place. So, what does this mean? Marco asked. We did it. What does it mean? Have we changed the future? Everything changes the future. I groaned. Somehow I knew we'd hear from that guy again. A replacement Cadrona will be here in 3 of your weeks. It was already on the way. Are you telling us this is all a waste? Marco demanded. Axe said, no, Marco, it's not a waste. 3 weeks only Cadrona aboard the mothership. In 3 weeks' time, they will suffer greatly. They'll fall behind their schedule. Many Earths will perish. 3 weeks is not a waste. Don't you mean 3 of our weeks? I asked Marco teased. Is it enough? Jake demanded loudly. Is it enough? How we changed the future? There was no answer. Just silence. I don't think he knows, I said. He shows a possible future, but you know what? I don't think he really knows the future any more than we do. What makes you so sure? I laughed, because wherever it is he exists and whatever he's up to, whatever game he's playing, or how mighty he is, he has butterflies too. There's an amazing thing. Laughter welled up inside us and echoed through us and made us all smile as we were fresh and full of energy. As I said, you're a primitive race, and yet you're capable of learning. I smiled. Come on, guys, you have energy for one more morph? I feel like flying. At first, we saw no evidence the Earths were suffering. I don't know how they did, but they managed to maintain. It wasn't until later we learned we'd done them terrible damage. But that is another story. 2 weeks later, I took the bus over to my dad's apartment. He was packing up a suitcase to leave. Hi, Rachel, he said as he opened the door. I wasn't sure you'd be coming. You're too disorganized to be able... I shrugged. You're too disorganized to be able to pack by yourself. He smiled a sad smile. Thanks. Yeah, it's no big deal. I would have come pick you up, he said. Sweetheart, you know you can always change your mind. You can always come live with me. I know, Dad. He smiled sadly. You know, I'll miss seeing you so much. You know, you'd be here every chance I get. I know that too, Dad. I gave him a little kiss on the cheek. He patted my head and I cried. I closed my suitcase and zipped it. You're gonna be okay without me here to take care of you, he asked. I can take care of myself, said wiping away tears. We took the elevator down to a taxi. I was waiting. Come meet me at the airport. I'll send you home in a cab. I shook my head. No, I got stuff to do. He smiled. I understand. You probably have something very important to do with your friends. It was a joke. Absolutely, I said. We're gonna save the world. He laughed. Well, if anyone can do it, honey, it'd be you. Aw. Then the taxi drove off. I looked up in the sky. A lone hawk circled overhead. You coming, Rachel? Tobias called out me in thought speak. I know I had so I can see. Yes, I was coming. Whew. And that is Animorphs number 7, The Stranger. I just feel like vibing for a second now. I'm pretty tired now, but I hope you all enjoyed the book, because I certainly did.